In the kingdom of Ravel, 70 kilometers from the capital city of Liviol, sat the fortress known as Redwood Keep. This keep has helped the line against tribes of orcs and beastmen, goblin hordes, invading armies from the lands of Jaka and Tsirkov Mira, and other Ravel noble houses that desire to take the keep for themselves. Redwood has outlasted them all, and will likely outlive Ravel itself. The current lord of Redwood, Ivan Redwood, was not only a charismatic orator and strong warrior, but a caring leader. He prided himself as a front-line leader willing to throw himself into the barbarian hordes before a single one of his people had to die. On what started as a normal day, the tall, black-haired lord awoke from his chambers and made his way to the main hall for breakfast. Ivan is a self-proclaimed not a morning person, so his walk through the cold, bare hallways was slow and sluggish. He found the appearance of the keep lacking, but he understood that a military fort isn't the place for expensive decorations. The second Ivan opened the door to the main hall, a woman immediately jumped at him with a "Hello, father." This morning person was a brown-haired half-elf with pale skin and blue scales. This was Mara Redwood, Ivan's adopted daughter and next lord of Redwood Keep. Like all elves, she can trace her bloodline back to an ancient dragon, specifically a lightning dragon. "Please don't yell in my face," Ivan said. "I haven't had my coffee yet." He was also hungover from a party the night before. "Sorry, father." Mara apologized as her retainer, a half-orc named Arya, pulled her off of the lord. "I just want you to know that I'm going to visit Callus and just want to greet you before I leave." Having only a single orc parent, Arya's black fur was thinner than the average orc, even being completely missing in certain areas, and her tusk was barely noticeable. The only way one could tell she was an orc was from her greenish skin. Given the history of violence between elves and orcs, many questioned why Mara chose Arya as a retainer in the first place. To be honest, Mara didn't have a good reason. She just liked Arya. "Thank you for warning me, little dragon. I can't imagine what I would have done if you disappeared without telling me." "Father, you're embarrassing me in front of the knights." Ivan ignored the snickering knights and hugged his daughter. "I'll miss you." "I'll miss you too, father, but can you let me leave?" The lord stopped hugging Mara and slapped her on the back. "Have fun, kid." Mara replied with a curtsy and left the hall with retainer and other servants in tow. Ivan, smiling, sat down with his knights and dug into the ham, eggs, and coffee. A few hours later, Lord Ivan was sitting on his throne reading a book. While relaxing, he was interrupted by a page running up to him and shouting, "My lord! There's something happening in the church." Now, Lord Ivan wasn't a religious man, but he had nothing against the local church or its followers. He saw the church as a good way to keep the farmers, millers, and guards happy and unified, and no one would question if the Lord didn't go to the peasants' church. That being said, Ivan understood something out of the ordinary was happening if it had to be brought up to him. "What exactly is happening, son?" he asked. The page responded. "I don't know for sure. There was a lot of yelling, and when I looked through the window I saw a man hanging from the rafters." The Lord launched to his feet, throwing his book to the floor in the process. "Knights, with me, son," he said to the page. "You are free to rest. We'll deal with these monsters." The page nodded and walked away as the knights armed themselves. Ivan was quick to get his ornate combat armor, pistol, and sword and lead his 12 knights to the church. The second the knights were within 5 meters of the church's door, they could smell it. The rot. The decay. The blood. The delicious stench. Lord Ivan covered his nose, strengthened his will, and kicked down the door. Lady Mara originally planned to only be gone for 3 days, but her return trip was pushed back a day due to bad weather. At the time, she didn't see any problem with this. It was just one more day with her close friend. The carriage ride home was comfortable, as normal. It was a warm day, if a little damp from the rainstorm the day before. The wooden horse-drawn carriage stopped by the main gate of the keep and Mara stepped out with her retainer in tow. To Mara's confusion, no one was waiting for her. Her doting father was usually the first to greet her whenever she returned from a trip, but just assumed he wasn't informed of her return. She never actually told him when she would be back. Mara walked through the main gate and into the town that her fortress protected. Past the market, past the church, past the farm, past the mill, and reaching the opened doors of the inner walls. Much to their surprise, Mara, nor any of her servants or guards following, saw anyone on their walk. No one was at the normally busy market. No priests were praying or teaching. No farmers tended to their now dying field nor their animals who have managed to escape their pens. No one ran the mill, no guards stood on the walls or at the gate, no one was there. Mara's calm walk turned into a worried sprint as broke open the door to the main hall of Redwood Keep. Nothing. They were all gone.